Scott, I
right,
have to tell you.
are live again here on our Mass Media Podcast Summit, and you guys are in store for a real treat here. A true, as I say, she is an expert in the industry, one of the hardest working people when it comes to marketing and podcasting. I had the good fortune of meeting this lady at Podfest 2 years ago as she was crawling under a tripod in a fully packed audience to make sure she was getting a great shot of the speakers at Podfest. And she absolutely does just a huge heart. She works great for her clients and absolutely just a rock star out there. And this lady, if you don't know her, you want to get a chance to know her, a chance to work with her. So she just does an amazing job. That's all I say. Like Stefanie LaHart empowers business owners to build the empire of their dreams, because that's what we're all looking to do. An expert on the art of becoming an entrepreneur in the golden age of social media, Stefanie is the founder of Boomtown Marketing, connecting passion-driven businesses and their ideal customers with social media, helping hundreds of businesses to launch their online presence. Stefanie creates a digital conversation that convert to real-world customers. Stefanie also tours as a speaker, taking to stages across the country to educate the public with better awareness of social media best practices, algorithms, and protection against social engineering. Most recently, she has been on stage sharing her message at FinCon and Podfest Multimedia Expo, as well as competing in social engineering capture the flag competition at DEF CON. I hope you share that story. It was really good stuff. Stefanie is also the host of the Traditional Talk podcast, a show that explores the crossroads between traditional advertising and social media marketing to help businesses and entrepreneurs make the most of their marketing budget. And without further ado, Stefanie LaHart, everybody.
Oh, Scott, thank you so much. So should I share my screen now or?
Yeah, if you want to dive straight into it.
Well, first I would like to share, not only is it the golden age of social media, but I'm actually golden. I just got my brand new Gold Nano Blue Yeti microphone. This shows you that I'm a real podcaster. So I loved it. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, I need that.
You need that, definitely.
I need that. But thank you so much for inviting me to this Mass Media Podcast Summit. I'm honored to be here. I remember meeting you, and it has been a wonderful journey ever since. I love all the collaborations that we've done together. So Thank you very much. And let's get into it, because there is a lot going on with Instagram these days. And Perfect. I'm excited to share this stuff with you guys. So I'm going to do a screen share, and then you can see my lovely face later.
There you go.
And please let me know in the chat room if I am too loud. I tend to get loud when I get excited. So,
You're good. I think the audio is fine for the most part. But what I'll do is once you share your screen, I'll jump off my video, but I'll be here.
Okay.
Do you want me to interrupt you as questions pop up, or wait till the end? What would you like?
Wait, let me do some of the presentation, and then they can ask. I left a lot of time for questions.
Okay, perfect.
So the presentation is only about like maybe 20 minutes, and then we'll have a lot of time for workshopping.
Okay.
Which I think will be more effective. But yeah, so I'm going to sit back from my microphone, but please adjust the levels. I'll try not to scream. I'm not good at that. Okay. Anyway, okay. So let me go and do this screen share. Where is that, Scott, on the screen?
At the bottom, it's the same panel that you'll see with your microphone and video there, and it's a square green button.
Oh, I see. Okay, there we go. Desktop.
Share, and then it should pop up on what's open on your desktop.
Yeah.
And just pick your presentation from there.
Hold on one second. Now it's making me do something else. What? It's making me look at my system preferences. Hold on one second. What's happening here?
Is it a PowerPoint that you have up?
I have it on Google Drive. Yeah, it's a slide thing. Let me see. It's asking me to go to my privacy and security to grant access. Let me see what I need to do here. One second. Why are you not opening? I think maybe I have to close it. Oh, here we are. Okay. Oh, there it is, right in front of my face. I think I need to log back into Zoom, so I'm going to log out for a second, okay?
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
That'll work. So let me pull this up here real quick, everybody. So one of the things that we see a lot of times, people are like, well, how do I use Instagram effectively? That's why we brought her on here to do that, because she does a great job, not only doing it at events, but also with her podcast and other people's podcasts, especially their clients at Boomtown Market. She's been a marketing, running marketing agencies for years, really working to leverage that stuff with her existing clients. We could have talked on a variety of different topics, but I know that a lot of people are using Instagram to help them market their podcast. It's an easy way to get in front of their audience, their clients, their listeners. And it's changing so much. And I had Stefanie come on a while back for one of our online real estate summits and shared so much great information that really changed a lot of people's real estate stuff. So there you go. You're back.
Yes, we're back. And now it will work.
Hit the share.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hit share.
There we go.
Let me know if can you see my screen?
I see you're launching. Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Can you see that screen?
Yep. Now you just put it in presentation when you're good to go.
Yes, sir.
Good
and
stuff.
There we go. Oh, technology. Lucky me, lucky me. Okay, guys. So you know the name of this, Secrets of Instagram Marketing. And people are like, what could you possibly tell me that I don't know? Lucky for me, my job is always safe because social media tools literally change every week. So at no point have I ever kind of gotten myself out of a job by teaching people too many things, because there's always something new. So the good news is for you, you came at a great time, because we have some really exciting changes that just happened with Instagram that's going to make it even easier for us to reach our audiences. So with that, the secrets of Instagram marketing. Applause, applause. I made you pretty slides. There you go. So as Scott said, I am founder and CEO of Boomtown Marketing. I've done social media professionally for over 10 years. Honestly, it's probably 20 at this point. I'm just trying not to age myself. So, and all the other stuff that he said. So I'm just going to skip through that. We will talk about DEF CON later, Scott, if you would like to. But let's just get on to the Instagram.
That'd be great.
Yeah, let's get on to the Instagram stats real quickly. So, if you listen to the news, you'll hear things like, well, there's 1 billion people using Instagram every month, and that 5 million of them are using the Instagram stories feature every day, and all the other stats. What I want you to notice on this screen is bullet point number 3. 89% of users of Instagram are outside of the US. So you're like, well, you're telling me not that many people are on Instagram. But remember, we still have a huge Instagram following in the US. It's just that Instagram is a global action, and that's good for you, because as podcasters, you're not looking to just reach people in the US, right? So Instagram's actually the perfect platform for you to be able to reach people that are in many different countries. I point that out because, out of all the social media tools that are out there, Instagram is proving the one that really crosses all of the cultural and societal lines in a very easy way. I mean, obviously with things like Facebook, it's a very convoluted message now. There's too much going on, and Twitter can be very specific, but Instagram really crosses boundaries. So it's important for us as business owners and for podcasters to be on it, because like I said, 89% of the users are actually outside of the US. And that's a tremendous pool for you to build your entire podcast audience. So I just wanted to point that out, because it's actually exciting news for us. And then the other thing is, like, Instagram's pretty even. It's like, 52% female and 48% male. So you're reaching everybody is what I'm saying. So, oh my God, there's our stats. The oh my God was just when I was pointing out, hey, by the way, 89% of your users are outside. We'll talk about anyone who has a podcast that maybe is structured or targeted more towards an international audience, because we can talk of specifics that you want to do to reach those. Okay. So let's go on. So again, here's your age stats. 37% of Americans, adults, are using Instagram. And look at our sweet spot right there. Between 30 and 64, we have 47% and then 23%, right? That's basically like half of the Instagram users. Like, notice 18 to 29, yeah, they have a 67% user, but our sweet spot between like 30 and 64 age, I mean, that's a good pool that we're pulling from there. 65 and older, I think that number is low, honestly, because I personally know many, many people that are 60 and above that are on Instagram. Again, it's a platform that's very easy for people to use. So here's your updates for 2020. Stats are out of the way. Have you guys heard the news headlines that say that Instagram is now hiding like counts. Here are the 7 countries that it's actually happening in. Notice the US is not on that list yet, okay? What that means is that you as the Instagram account owner, you can still see your stats, but people will not be able to see it on the outside, but only in these countries. So this is something they've been rolling out very slowly. It rolled out in Canada like last year. And what it looks like on their end is somebody goes to one of your Instagram posts, all they'll see is, they'll say like, you know, Bob, Mary, Judy, all like this post and other people liked it, but they won't give you a number like they used to. Okay, that's all it does. It doesn't mean that you're never going to be able to see that, oh, anybody liked it. And like, again, you as the account owner, you can see it within your stats, how many people you actually got to like your post. But again, this is only happening in these 7 countries. They said that they're going to roll it out in the US. I predict that is not going to happen. And why is that? Because Instagram is a huge business in the US. It's like we may have a lower usership globally, but as far as terms of numbers, because, you know, industries have been built up around it with advertising and influencers and stuff like that, I predict, and you can say you heard it from Stefanie later, it is not going to roll out in the US in the way that they have rolled it out in other countries. So I mention that now because, you know, for us now, the like game is still part of the algorithm that we're working with. But just know it's only really these 7 countries that are dealing with it from a visual standpoint. We don't really have to worry about in the US. Here's the other hot topic, in case you've heard this one, that they are now hiding Photoshopped images. I don't know if you guys have heard that. We will chat about it in a second, but this is what's happening with this. What they decided to do this year, and it is affecting the US, this one, is that they are now putting disclaimers over images that they have decided have been visually manipulated in some way. They're calling it false or fake images, which is very misleading, because if you see from my screenshot right here, you'll notice the image that they were actually covering is somebody that did an art project. So it's obviously some mountains that they rainbow colored, and nobody's looking at that thinking that that's real, right? But they're putting this disclaimer over it that says it's false information. However, one of the things that's happening here is that this post can actually be voted out of that. So if Instagram were to suddenly block this post, and they don't actually block it, they just give you that little disclaimer, you can still click through it. If enough people were to say, no, this is actually an art piece, then Instagram would unblock it. But I wanted to show you this because this is something that is happening in the US. It's not happening like really world, you know, like really on a major scale. You might not see it on any of your accounts. But part of the reason they were doing this is, you know, the complaint that people have had about Instagram insofar as the fact that people are portraying a life that they don't lead, right? And so with the feedback, they're like, well, how do we start monitoring this whole fake Instagram problem? Well, in my view, the way they're handling it is not the right way. Because honestly, like, look at that image on the right-hand side, the rainbow mountains. Like, there's no reason to block that. But because they're doing it with AI, you know, it's just kind of getting like stuck under the treadwheels of that big mill. And I think they're going to work on this, but I wanted to mention it at least because I know that there's been some very inflammatory headlines out there like, oh my God, they're hiding Photoshopped images. And really, you know, what they're trying to do is monitor the way people are envisioning, I guess, lives on Instagram, but this isn't the way to handle it if you ask me. I mean, because this isn't the problem. The problem is compare and despair. And that's a human emotion thing. That's not us not being able to tell that obviously a rainbow shopped mountain is not real, right? So I think that's something we're going to hear more about. But again, I wanted to touch on this in case you're like me and you get all of your news from Twitter headlines, because this one was like floating around last week. So it made all the major news sources. Okay, 1, 2, 3, let's go into the meat of this. And I'll tell you all my secrets. Instagram feed. Okay, this is where you want to start taking out your notes because we're going to get into the good stuff. And just to let you know, I will have my entire slideshow downloadable for you. So afterwards, if you want to just have this to reference, you don't worry, you can take screenshots or whatever, but you will have the slides. It'll be helpful when you're going back over because I have a lot of samples in here and examples. All right, here you go. This is what your Instagram feed looks like. I wanted to explain the differences between feed, stories, live, and IGTV, just for people who may not be familiar with the terms. When you hear the term Instagram feed, this is the main portion of your actual Instagram. So this is where you see the images in the block fashion, which we call the grid, okay? This is your feed. And what you will notice now with the feed, the little 5 little bubbles that are atop the blocks on the left hand, it's the left hand of my screen right under Instagram feed. They are stories that you've saved, which we'll get into, but for the main point of focus right now, which we're calling the feed, that's your actual post. So when we say post or feed, that's what it's looking like. And we also call it the grid. So your grid is looking like this. I showed it to you first on the left-hand side, what it looks like on a desktop. In the center is on your mobile. And then on the far right-hand side, the lovely picture of, God, I forget her name. I'll call her Sheila. That is what the actual post looks like. And again, I'm pointing this out for people who may not be that familiar with the terms and terminology of Instagram, just so we're all on the same page. And you can see with this one, we definitely have a theme. We have an aesthetic, which we're going to get into. It's going to be something that you definitely want to have within your Instagram. First and foremost, it makes it easier to look at your feed. And secondly, it's because that is the norm. That is what people expect. And if you really want people to pay attention to what you're doing, you have to have it laid out in a way that they understand. So that's your Instagram feed. Let me get over here. Okay, anatomy of an awesome feed. Take a screenshot of this one. This is an important slide. So here's your topic. I mean, here's your headline. You have to keep it clean and you have to keep it consistent. I can't tell you how many Instagram feeds that I see where people are literally, I mean, they're putting everything plus the kitchen sink up there. They're grabbing random photos, random headlines, random graphics that don't even fit. They're throwing it all in the feed. And the problem with that, again, is when somebody goes to look at your entire feed after they've seen maybe one image and they have a little bit of interest in you, and they get to your page and it's a jumble of, like, you know, the New York Post, the Daily Bulletin, all these different things that are thrown on there, they're going to lose them. They're not going to spend any more time trying to figure out what you have to offer, or even being interested in your post from then on, because it looks too junky. So if you look at my example on the right-hand side, that is a very clean, aesthetically pleasing looking feed. And yes, I did create it for a client of mine, but it's not only the color scheme, but we also have a pattern there. And patterns are going to be something that's going to make it much easier for your audience member to understand what it is that your feed is about, okay? Because again, with the feed, because it goes by so quickly, if somebody has to spend more than 2 seconds understanding who you are or why it's important to them, you've lost them. So if you look at my example on the right-hand side, you can tell this is clearly a feed that is about like an organized topic. You may not know initially, like, oh, I'm not sure what this podcast is about, but you understand that this podcast is about, you know, something where people are gathering. Maybe it's something entertainment-wise. And then as you look further into it, you'll understand, oh, this is actually about an event, it's about an event podcast specifically for event professionals. That's what the podcast is about, but it's easier to tell from what's going on there. So again, going back to our anatomy of an awesome feed, you definitely want to post on this feed section at least 2 to 3 times a week. Initially, when Instagram was, you know, first rolling, the thought was you had to post every single day. But now with the way the algorithm works, posting on your feed every day is not going to get you any more mileage than doing other things, which I will get into. Posting on your feed is somewhere where you really need to be thoughtful. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you stick to a 2 to 3 times a week schedule, you're going to serve yourself much better than just simply trying to throw up any old thing because you're like, I got to post on there every day or else nobody's going to see my feed. With the way the Instagram algorithm works now, it is not about how many times you post. It's all about engagement. So if you only post twice a week, but you get a lot of engagement on those 2 posts, Instagram's going to choose you to keep showing to more people. Okay, much different than if you're posting every single day, multiple times a day, but it's just a whole bunch of crap, honestly, and nobody's engaging in it, nobody's commenting on it, nobody's liking it, nobody's sharing it. Instagram's just going to ignore you. You're going to be like, oh my God, I spend so much time on my Instagram and it's getting me no leverage. Well, that's why. That was the really big change with Instagram in the last couple of years. So, you know, 2 to 3 times a week, you're good for the feed. The other thing is you want to use a mix of images, audiograms, and video. People love a surprise. I say that because I actually have a separate feed. I'll link it in the chat room. It's for a side project that I'm doing, which is all about law of attraction. But for that, what I've started doing is creating these images they are static images, but then I'll do a GIF overlay. So there's some sparkle. And then when I actually post it on the feed, there's a little symbol on it that makes it look like a video. They get more traction than anything else I've been doing because it's a present almost. It's like a surprise. People are like, oh, I wonder what's in that video. So again, you want to use a mixture of the images, audiograms, and video specifically because you want to keep people interested and always looking at what it is you're posting. Gone are the days where you can simply just post photo, photo, photo. Listen, we are the swipe right, swipe left economy now, and it's too easy to just swipe off what you're doing. Give them something that is a present. I call it a present for their eyes and a tickle for their brain. So, just going beyond the audiograms, throw in some kind of video, and I'm going to show you how to do a video without creating an actual video just by using GIFs. Okay, so we'll do that a little bit towards the content creation section. And then, of course, the next thing is you need compelling copy and you need a call to action. So one of the things I see a lot with specifically podcasters is they will simply throw up like a title page of whatever their podcast is, just like a graphic. And then in the copy, it just says, come listen to my new show. But there's nothing in there that's telling me as the viewer, as the audience, why I should spend my time there. Like, what's in it for me? Why would I spend even 2 minutes clicking over to, listen to your podcast or anything? So within your copy, that's your one place to tell them a story. And it doesn't have to be like, the next great American novel, but give them a reason to listen. So if, like, specifically with my example here, the Event Producer podcast, within each of our posts, we're telling our audience like what's happening in that specific show. So for the one that we did, this one that we just did, just passed, this woman actually, she helps to create experiential events, as they call them. So within our actual post, we're talking about why that's important in the event industry. And it's a short post. You guys can go read this stuff later and kind of copy what I did if you want. But that's what people are looking for. They want a little bit more information without writing a gigantic blog post. And you may have seen that where people are putting like 2 or 3 paragraphs. That's too much. A couple of sentences and some hashtags. That's it. Just give them a reason to want to actually click over to your podcast. So that's your compelling copy. And then, of course, within there, as you know, there's only one place to actually link outside of Instagram to go somewhere, and that's in your bio. So within the post, you can still drop the link to your actual podcast page or the podcast directly, but it won't be clickable. I do advise people to still put it in there with a bit.ly link, just so if someone's on the go, they happen to catch the feed just as they're scrolling, out and about in their day, they're waiting in line somewhere. If they were to just grab a screenshot of that, just as a mental note to themselves, like, oh, I want to go check out that later. They don't have to then go say, oh, I wonder how I get to their podcast. They can easily see that very, small bit.ly link that they can type in. And trust me, this works. I use short bit.ly links for everything. And again, you can go look at the feed that I've done here to see what that looks like. And okay, so then moving on to hashtags. Oh, hashtags are big. So hashtags are something that are very misunderstood from my view, because hashtags are supposed to be what they really are. They are breadcrumbs to lead you towards the information you are looking for. Okay. So if you have ever heard someone say or been in another class where people are like, hey, just whatever's going on in the photo, put that in the hashtag. So like some of these photos, hashtag blue, hashtag spinning, hashtag swirling, hashtag flower, hashtag girl. That crap will get you nowhere. That is general crap. It's not going to do anything for you. So just stop that right now. Just promise me you won't do that. You only get 30 hashtags, first of all. What you need is to choose hashtags that are directly related to your topic, to your podcast, and to podcasting in general, that are going to lead people to finding your feed. So any of that general stuff that people used to do in the beginning, get rid of that. It's not working, and it's just sucking up your 30 hashtags that you have. So what I actually did for you, ooh, I think it's on the next slide. Let me see. Did I put it on the slide? Oh, it's on that. Okay, let me go back then. Oh shit. How do I go back? No.
Then you just arrow over. Use the arrow.
What?
Left or right
No,
arrow.
thanks. Scott, you're a genius. Okay. I don't want to give away my goodie yet. Let me just tell you.
There you go.
Hashtags for podcasters, since I'm on my hashtag rant. So here are some good podcaster hashtags that you should have on every single one of your podcasting feeds. Hashtag podcast, hashtag podcaster, hashtag podcasting, hashtag podcast shows. People are using this in order to discover new podcasts specifically on Instagram now, okay? Not only that, but people that are in the news or people that are writing stories are specifically using hashtags like that in order to find people that are podcasting. And not only that, hello, Hollywood has come calling. They are also using it to find projects to develop. Make it easy for them to find your show. I highly recommend you use the hashtag podcast show in everything you do. You would be shocked how underused it is right now. I mean, I throw this thing everywhere because trust me, Hollywood is calling and they are searching podcast show for their new development deals. So promise me, you guys will all jump on that hashtag. Oh, and then the other thing, okay, so use specific hashtags for your topic or niche. Oh, yes. So if you have a crime podcast, obviously we want hashtag crime podcast. If you have a sports podcast, hashtag sports podcast. And you could sit there and say, Stefanie, this is simple. Everybody knows that. But I'm telling you, after all of our different presentations today, just go and take a look at some of the other podcast feeds that are out there, and you will be shocked how people are not doing specific niche hashtags like they need, and how that is making their work be so overlooked. Because remember, you want to make it very easy for your next viewer, your next listener to find you. So niche it down, but don't make it crazy niche. You know, if it's something specific, like you do crime in Los Angeles, then yeah, you could do Los Angeles crime podcast. Oh my God, that's such a good niche one. And that would, people who are directly interested in that would be able to find you. And, you know, again, you want to put it on every single one of your posts because your posts are not going up every single day. They're going up 2 to 3 times a week. But remember, Instagram is showing your posts to new people all week long. So even if you're like, well, I'm going to use that hashtag, but I'm going to get buried, so why bother using it? Don't worry about that hashtag because Instagram's going to keep showing your feed anyway, but it's important that you're on that hashtag as well. Okay, now we get to the freebie. Screenshot this. Here's your free download of the day. I compiled a list of 50 hashtags for podcasters specifically. You get to download the list and then you can just copy and paste them into your post. You don't have to type anything. You don't have to look for them. They're all there for you. You're welcome. Happy Friday.
And again, awesome. Thanks, Stefanie.
You're welcome. And again, you can just screenshot this. It's really easy. Like I said, I use Bitly for everything. Just free hashtag. Just go send me your email. You'll get the download. It's 50. It's all about podcasting. And I put it together for you simply so you can just copy and paste it right into your post. All easy peasy. Okay, cool. Instagram story. Let's move to that. So that was our feed. Instagram story. Okay, my darlings, here is your number one hot tip. Instagram uses the Instagram story as a way to decide who they are going to put specifically within their discovery algorithms. Okay. So whereas I just told you, hey, you only need to post in the feed 2 to 3 times a week, Instagram story, totally different subject. You need to post in your Instagram story at least 2 to 3 times every single day. I'll wait for the groans to stop. It's not a lot of work. I'm going to show you how to do it.
Quite a bit.
Nope. But I'm going to show you how to create this stuff easy. You're going to upload it to Dropbox. I'm going to show you my whole workflow of how I do this for my clients. You're going to upload it to Dropbox. Dropbox works seamlessly with the Instagram app. And then you'll have all of your stories that you need every day. Or you can use one of the many scheduling tools like Planoly and things like that. It's just Planoly. I have noticed recently that the scheduling tools for Instagram seem to be having a lot of hiccups. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking to them because I don't know if this is Instagram trying to force people to live post again. It's something that I'm watching. And you know what, Scott, later I can post maybe in the Facebook group about it. But there's definitely something going on because I personally have had quite a struggle in the last couple of weeks where posts are not being posted through these various schedulers. but they're not telling you why. So I kind of think they're trying to make people do more live posting, but don't worry about it, because I'm going to show you how to do all your content at once, and it'll be super easy for you. So your Instagram story, of course, looks like this. When they're looking at it on their phone, again, there's your post, and your Instagram story is in the bubbles right ahead. When you do update your story, you get the little halo around your icon, around your profile picture, and Instagram pushes it to the top of the list. So again, posting 2 to 3 times a day, I have found is really, really a great algorithm for you to use in order to get discovered. Because what Instagram is doing with your stories is they are looking at stories and deciding that these are active accounts that people are interested in, and they're going to put you actually in the discovery mode where they're going to send you to more people. That's why if you've noticed, if you've been using Instagram stories and you notice when you look at your stats, like, oh, wow, there's all these people, like I know who they are, and they're not following me, but they suddenly saw my story, right? So you're like, because Instagram's pushing them there. That's why it's important, again, make sure that you're active in the Instagram story. So here's some pretty Instagram stories that I did. I'm going to show you how to quickly and easily do them. And I just want to point out real quickly, because I don't think it's on one of my slides. Within these Instagram stories, you want to make sure that you put the little, so if you've used Instagram stories, right at the top, it gives you the option to add an @ symbol. You can @ your own account, which means when I post these, I actually put a little clickable bar right on the post that sends a viewer back to my Instagram feed. So I'll do like an @event pro pod. So if somebody's like, oh, this is really cool, I want to check this out, instead of them having to click that tiny little bubble that would be at the top left-hand side, they're going to get a clickable link right within the picture. And I'll show you guys how to do that as well. Trust me, you want to do this on every single Instagram story that you do, because again, with the discovery mode, people that are just being pushed to you from Instagram, they're not going to know where you came from. So make it easy for them to go back to your feed in order to get to your podcast. But I'll show you all that. Okay. Anatomy of an awesome story. I want to blow through these quickly because I want to get to the Q&A with you guys. So if I'm talking very fast, I just naturally talk fast as it is, but I will try to slow down a little bit. So your awesome story consists of, like I said, daily stories. Again, a mix of images, audiograms, and video, because yes, you can actually post your audiogram within your story. And again, they have this great Create feature. If you guys have not used Create, I can show you that as well. That is fantastic. They have rolled out a huge update to that in the last 2 months, where they gave you so many more options, specifically polls, questions, and lists. That's important for you. And I'm going to reference right now, if you look at the right-hand side of your screen, that actual Instagram feed, what I did there was I posted an audiogram. So that picture below of Brian is actually an audiogram that's playing when the feed comes on your view. So that's playing. And then above that is an interactive question. So think about it. Not only do you get a video visual, so somebody's engaged, but now they can interact. So as Brian's talking about being in the event industry and what he does, I have a question there. What's your #1 event challenge? So people don't have to go anywhere to now be a part of the whole story. And the great thing about this is when people answer your question, you then have the option to actually repost it. And let me tell you, everybody loves a repost. So if somebody gives you like a good answer to that, something that is in line with the actual topic of the podcast, I would repost that. So what's your #1 event challenge? Somebody types in, I need more people to show up. I would then repost that. And not only that, within that post, you can add more text and you can address the person. So you could say, like, say Scott asked me, what's your #1 challenge? And Scott says, getting people to my event. I repost it. I @ Scott, and I specifically say, Scott, we address that very topic on this show. Click here, and it sends them right back to my feed. And there's the podcast he can listen to. So stories is a super easy interactive way for you to not only attract new audiences, but engage them right there. They don't have to go anywhere else. They don't have to go right to your podcast. They don't have to go to your website. They don't have to do anything but engage with you in that story aspect. That's huge, guys. That is something that is so underutilized. And because Create just rolled out all these other features like lists and polls and timers, I would create from now until the end of the day if I were you. If you're doing nothing else on Instagram but creating interactive stories like that, you're going to see more mileage for your podcast because people are now involved in the actual creation of it. And then if you repost what they did and you tag them, you've got a listener. You've got a listener for life because now they're like, oh, he sees me or she sees me. Like I'm part of the show. And you never know what kind of business connections you can make too. Could be the next person you're interviewing.
That's brilliant, Stefanie. Totally
yeah.
brilliant.
And so then, and of course, then, the other thing is you can, when somebody tags you, you can actually repost that story as well. So we can get to like a whole retagging the tag team here. So Scott answers my story. I answer him in a story. I tag him. Scott's so excited that he got some kind of recognition that somebody's actually listening to him. He reposts the story again, sends more people back to my podcast. I mean, it could just keep going back and forth, and we do this stuff all the time again. And no, people don't even have to leave the Instagram feed to do all this. So, I mean, utilize stories. Like, even if you're like, I'm only going to do one post a week, but I'm going to commit to being on stories, doing at least 2 stories a day. You are going to see your audience grow. It is a guarantee because this is what Instagram wants you to do with their tool right now. And if you're doing what they want you to do, they're going to reward you with viewers. So if they roll out something new in the next couple of months, we'll do this real quick again, because you're going to want to be doing that because they want you to use the tools that they're pushing in a nutshell. And of course, make sure you can use hashtags on your stories. Honestly, not as important, but definitely if you have guests, you want to tag your guest because again, if they repost it, you can repost it again. And also, if you are talking about a specific area, say like, okay, in Los Angeles, say I did a show about art in Los Angeles. And my one podcast was about the new experiences that are going on at LACMA, which is our Los Angeles County museum, right? If I tag at LACMA, here's what they're going to do. They're going to repost me. And by the way, LACMA has, I think 500,000 of audience already. If they repost me in their audience, do you guys see how huge that would be for me as a smaller podcaster where suddenly LACMA's reposting me? So make sure if you are in an area, and it has to be legit. You can't just simply do an @ thing. You're like, my podcast has nothing to do with LACMA, but I'm going to go tag them because they're going to repost me. They're not going to. But if it has something to do with whatever you've just talked about, they're going to repost it. In fact, I have a great example. So I had this client last year, and they were specifically a geospatial company. So what they did is they took aerial photos and sold them to businesses and to government and to developers. So it was aerial views of land, basically. So we did this whole series during one of I'm trying to think what holiday it was. Let's just say it was like 4th of July. We did a whole series of aerial photos of national monuments and national cemeteries, specifically like some things like Arlington Cemetery and things like that. We tagged Arlington Cemetery. They reposted our story, and we got thousands and thousands of views on that because they reposted us. And mind you, I was working with a geospatial company. So it wasn't even like they had to do directly with vets or directly with cemeteries or directly with Arlington Cemetery. But we had this amazing imagery that their guests, their audience, were really interested in looking at. And then when they came back to our feed and saw all these other really cool aerial photos we had, we got a ton more followers from that. And that was all just because we tagged Arlington because we were showing a picture of Arlington. Does that make sense, guys? Does that sound good? Or your head's exploding?
That totally makes so much sense, Stefanie. That's awesome.
I know, Scott, right? And it's so easy. That's why I'm like so hyped up on the whole story thing, because it's so easy to create them on the fly. It's not like when you have to create an audiogram or a video and you're like, oh, I have to edit. Listen, honestly, if I have to start editing anything, that is so like last on my list because I have so many other things. But with the story, especially with the create feature now, you can do so many things on the fly. I mean, literally, you wake up, you have your coffee, you can bang this out in 15 minutes and be done. And there's no like long-term, oh, I've got to get a designer. I need to do something with editing. Everything's on the fly. And that's the other great thing about Instagram is this stuff comes and goes. So people don't have to worry about it. It's not like this huge digital history all the time, which people are not going to go back and look. But what the story does give you the option of doing, if we could just go back, let me show you again. These little bubbles that are there, remember what we looked at here. Okay, so if you look at the first slide where it is the feed and then you have the 5 bubbles, they are your story saving bubbles. If you haven't used these yet, what you'll see is when you post a story in the lower right-hand corner, you get like a little heart, I think it is, and you are allowed to then save it. And you can create as many of these bubbles as you want. So you'll see within this one, I have a bubble for quotes, for audio, for show grids, for Q&A. So every time I'm posting something in my story that has to do with one of these categories, I save it there. So it's not truly disappeared. It's something people could go back and reference, but that's the only way that your story is going to be saved. So definitely use that little filing system. I call it my filing cabinet. Our hashtags. Yes. Okay. So let me go back here, the big reveal. Okay. So again, you want to tag yourself and your guest, and you want to make it a good mix of your images, audios, and video. Where are we at? Okay. 45 minutes in. I know I said I was going to talk for 30 minutes. Why am I so long-winded? Okay, let's get through this then. Here is your creating your awesome story feature. Again, that create feature, which is free to everyone, and you will see it as soon as you open up your story, right in the bottom, in the middle of the screen, it says create. Click on that, and that'll help you to choose between interactive polls, questions, stickers, drawings, text, everything you need. I mean, you can do text without even needing a photo or a video. Like so my little Alice in Wonderland, I love her. So I did a question. Do you have an event planner for your event? And there's Alice doing her little thing. Again, oh, this was the tag I mentioned earlier. See that tag at the bottom where it says Event Pro Pod? That's interactive. If they click on that, that takes them right back to my feed, which is what you want. Put your @ tag on every story you do. You don't have to make it big, but put it somewhere so you can easily lead people back. Otherwise, remember, this story goes by in a couple of seconds, and the only way for them to be like, oh, wait, that was cool, it's gone, I would have had to click in that top left-hand corner where it says Event Pro Pod, and it's that tiny little icon. People's fingers are not quick as that. They're going to miss that. So make it easy, and remember where your thumb is on your screen. Look at how you use Instagram, where your thumbs lay, and put that @ tag where your thumbs naturally land. So if somebody's sitting there in a one-handed mode, where is their thumb going to be? Click, I'm back on your feed. Okay. That's your secret. Okay. Content creation, but first coffee, but first scheduling. Before we get into the content creation, we touched a little bit about scheduling a couple of slides ago. Again, I'm not going to spend any time today specifically telling you what schedulers to use, because I personally have experienced in the last couple of weeks where I think there's something weird going on with the schedulers, where they are not interacting in the way they should. We can do a follow-up, maybe, Scott, even on like the Facebook page, talking about schedules at a later date.
That'd be great.
But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a schedule about what you're doing, okay? So even if you're only going to use something like an Excel spreadsheet, take the time once a week to write down in a spreadsheet what you are going to be putting on your Instagram feed and your story every single day. You can just make notes for yourself. Like today, I'm going to ask them a question. I'm going to post an audiogram. I'm going to post an image, just something so it's easy for you when you wake up and you have your coffee there, you pull up your spreadsheet, you're like, this is what I need to do today. Or if you're working with a VA, that they know what they need to do, or an assistant of some level, you know. Scheduling, I feel, is something that gets so overlooked because people are like, well, I'll just do it and I'll figure it out later. But this is where your time savings is going to come in. So at least get yourself hooked up with like just an easy Google spreadsheet. Or if you want to get a little bit more fancy and maybe you're working with a team, do a free board on Trello. So if you haven't used Trello, that's Trello, just somewhere where you can have some kind of visual of what you guys want to happen on your Instagram. It will save you hours and hours of work. And that's with your coffee. So there we go. Here we go. Create an all-filled post, not an awful post. I'm so clever. Thank you for my journalism degree, Temple University. Okay, again, we talked about this a little bit. Within your feed, you want to have a mix of what's going on. For podcasters specifically, what I have found works the best is to have alternating blocks of an audiogram, quote blocks, comparables, human touch, interesting topic photos. I have done all that in the feed, which is right on the screen to your right-hand side. You will see in the very first block, That is actually what I call a quote box, which is a picture of whoever we interviewed with a quote that we took directly from the podcast. The next image is what I call a human touch or interesting topic photo. Whatever we were talking about within that podcast, I've pulled a photo that has something to do with it. So specifically in that show, we were talking about how things had to be experiential. So I grabbed this great image from online. Actually, there's a website, which I link at the end of this presentation that you'll be able to go to, called Unsplash. Totally free images. Just get an image that's going to somehow tie in with your subject, because again, you don't want to make it all text images. You don't want to do all titles or even audiograms or things people have to read. Just give them a pretty picture at some point, something easy for them to fall into your whole funnel. So that is what we call the human touch. And then the one on the far right-hand side, again, is the audiogram, which we're creating in Headliner. So that's a great mix. And then what I've done with this one is I've given ourselves a line in between. So what I actually structured is I have 3 boxes that are specifically related to the podcast that we had just put up. And then the next line, I'll do an image that I cut into 3 different portions. And then within the copy, I will again reference that exact podcast, but at least it gives people something different to look at and something interesting. So imagine if you're sliding by this feed, you'd be like, hey, what is that? Where are those people? Is that Coachella? What's happening there? Like, it would make you stop. So give people a reason to stop on your feed with something like that. And make it fun too. Make it something that when you do cut it up into 3 photos like that, that the photo can stand alone on its own as well as being in like a 3-part structure too. Think of it as a triptograph. If you did any kind of like studying of art history, all of those altar pieces that were in 3 panels, you have to tell a story in the 3 panels, but with the 3 panels have to tell a story together as well. So think of that as your art history lesson of the day. But that, I'm telling you, if you guys want to copy what I'm doing for this client, go for it, because we're seeing great results on this. Going forward. Okay, here's what I talked about quickly, which was, these are my favorite tools for content creation. Headliner app, it's online, it's free, it's easy to use. They give you a bunch of different options. Don't get super fancy. Just use the square option because you're going to be posting on Instagram. And remember, you need to have something that's a minute, or like 60 seconds or less. So be mindful. Here's my workflow of how I do it. When we download a new show, I will take that actual audio clip. I'll find my quote that's going to be in there. I'll cut out a 1-minute segment. Okay. I'll save that as its own MP3, and then I'll upload that to Headliner. I'm telling you this because Headliner just recently started giving you the ability to upload an entire podcast. Don't do that. It will take you forever in processing time. I recommend pre-selecting the clip you're going to use and just cut that little portion into an MP3 and then upload it to Headliner. Otherwise, you're going to be in for a world of headaches just waiting for this stuff to process. So just grab your clip beforehand. And then, of course, you want a little square graphic as your background, or you can leave it blank and then do all their fancy stuff. Headliner is really self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go into it too much. And actually, just to let you know, I have an Instagram course that's launching in the next 2 weeks where we go deeply into content creation, and I'll make sure you guys know about that. But you know, there's a lot more we can talk about content creation. We don't have time today, but these are my content creation tools of choice that you are also welcome to use. They all have free sides to them. So my workflow is Headliner, Canva specifically for creating the graphics, Unsplash, which is where I get my free images. Image Quote app actually goes on your phone if you want to create a quick quote on the fly. And then we have Glyphy and PicMonkey as well. I'm going to blow your minds in a second about Glyphy. Is that my next slide? Hold on. Here's your secret bonus. Not many people know this. Take a picture. I might delete this slide. Anyone can create a GIF that's going to be used by everyone on Instagram. Did you guys know that?
I love this tool. I absolutely love it. It's a great.
Have you used it, Scott?
I've used it occasionally. I should probably use it more, but we've used it a couple times with a variety of different things.
Scott, but people don't realize anyone can create a GIF, and you can put something about your podcast in the GIF. So say I wanted to create a GIF for Event Pro Pod. I could create a little picture. You know, it has to be something that looks good. And under it, put Event Pro Pod knows best or something. And people will reuse that gift without even know what Eventpro Pod is. I mean, I've seen so many custom gifts now that are coming out, and not a lot of podcasters are using it yet. So think about the variety of ways you can do it. So just go to Giphy. They show you how to create your GIF, and they show you how to get it approved by Instagram. They'll walk you through all the steps. That's your super secret bonus. Don't tell anybody about it, because once people jump on it, they'll ruin it. But I'm telling you right now, it's gold. It is gold for us right now to really get more people into our podcast. Content that converts. Let's get on to this. Here are some up close and personal views of the content that I have created for my Event Producer podcast. I call this one the title slide, obviously, because it is the title of that episode, a picture of the guy we interviewed, and just with his name and our logo. You can create this kind of stuff very easily on Canva and put it anywhere you want. You could put it in stories. You could put it on your feed. Always create a title card for your podcast. And once you have the template, you can just drop in new images super easy on Canva. So remember this one. Next we have, this is our quote graphic. Again, I'm creating all of these in Canva. I did it with a template. I drop his face in. I drop a quote. I can use it on Instagram. I could use it on Facebook if I want. I'm a big proponent now of creating most of my social media graphics in the square mode. Instead of like doing what I used to do, which was like, oh, you have to have all these different sizes. Honestly, square works everywhere. So if you do the square, you're going to have more bang for your buck, especially if you don't have a lot of time or you don't have a lot of help doing this stuff. Go with square above everything. So there's your quote graphic. The next one is, after I just said use a square, this is something I'm calling my Twitter banner. You can create this. It is more work, but you do have then the option of having your quote in two different formats. So if I had the choice, I would definitely start with this one. If you have more time or you have an assistant, do the Twitter size, which is the horizontal one. But again, I'm using the same quote, same photo. I did a template. I threw an image in the background. I can reuse this on LinkedIn. I can use it on Twitter. I can use it on Facebook. But if I don't have the time to do this one first. It's the only one you need. Sound good? I'm saving you time. And then here's our Instagram stories. Again, I created these in Canva with one of their templates. I would like to take credit for the layout. I did not. It is one of their templates. I literally dropped my text where the text should be and dropped images in, and these were built for me. I didn't need a graphic designer. I didn't need Photoshop. I didn't need to hire somebody. These were created in less than 3 minutes. So please promise me you will also go to Canva. Just use their templates. You do not have to reinvent the wheel. You can change some colors if you want, but these are the sizes that you need for stories. They must be vertical like this. So use the templates when they're there. And this is actually the background that I use for the audiogram. So what I'll do in Canva again is because I'm still using the actual guest face, I'll drop his photo in, just the title of the actual episode. And then notice I have a big blank space where his chest is. That's where the audio bars actually will show up when you run it through Headliner. So if you're going to do something like, well, I want to have a background for my audiogram, make it so you have some kind of room if you're going to do an audio bar that it's not covering up some important piece of information. So you'll notice my title's in the center of my screen. My audio bars will never, ever cover it. This is all going to be on your download. Again, here's your free download. You get the free hashtag download list. And then once I send you the list, you're on your way. You have your podcast hashtags and access to me, basically. You will be on my email list. You can opt out at any time. I won't cry. I have a very high opinion of myself. It's okay. My mom still loves me, but get your free hashtags anyway. And with that said, Scott, guess what? I did it. Hold on. What time is it? Well, I was like an hour. Okay, we still have an hour though, right? Yeah. Okay.
Let's see here. Yeah, we still got a few minutes before everything, because we got basically 20 minutes for people to ask questions. And
okay, perfect. All right, so this is all the slideshow. I do a YouTube channel. I have tons of free trainings on there. You guys can go and find me on there. My face is everywhere. In fact, Scott, you know I do a lot of online dating now. A friend of mine's like, aren't you afraid of stalkers? I'm like, I couldn't be any easier to find. I mean, I'm not even fun to stalk because I'm everywhere. So yeah, and that's the end of it, right? That's the end of my show. All right. I'm going to stop sharing my little screen here.
Okay.
Stop share. There's my face. I
Good
talk
stuff
loud
there.
and I talk fast.
Now, aren't there some hashtags that you don't want to use as well?
I don't want to use hashtags that are not relevant to what I am talking about. Like I said, I would not use generic hashtags like hashtag sunshine, hashtag blue, hashtag dog. That's not going to get me anywhere.
I meant there is some hashtags that you use that Instagram automatically blocks, though, I've heard too.
Yeah, generic ones.
Okay, just generic ones. Okay.
Anything that's generic, and that's because the people were just jumping on that. So if you do like a hashtag just dog, people are there. Nobody's seeing that. That's what. Yeah, they're basically. It's not that they're blocking it; they're just not showing it to people. Like you can put it on there. It doesn't put you like in this shadow ban thing, which, by the way, is technically an urban myth. But
what is that? What is that?
Well, shadow banning is something you might have heard about a couple years ago, where people were convinced that all of a sudden their Instagram account was not being shown to people. They only felt that way because when the algorithm changed, their usual traffic that they were enjoying, because it was done in a more, remember when it was chronological, okay? And then when they switched to it being more engagement page, people made up this whole urban myth of there's something called shadow ban, and that means Instagram is totally suppressing your feed. That is an out and out lie. Instagram has said it over and over. They're like, we are not banning your accounts. We are not covering your accounts. They're like, but we are showing accounts to people that are interested in the topic based on their usership, right? So yeah. Wow. Same thing with the hashtags. They're not banning them, but they're like, nobody's following the generic hashtags like that. Hashtag yellow is not helpful.
Exactly.
Hashtag crime podcast is helpful.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of the big things I use with it is a real estate podcast on a regular basis and stuff. And we see a lot of people using that. There was something else I was going to ask you with these people popping up on Instagram a lot of times. Should you ever buy followers?
Oh, no, you can't. Oh my God, I can't. I didn't even mention that, Scott, because I figured that was all squashed last year.
I'm just bringing it up just in case.
No, I'm so glad you did, because there are still many services out there that will insist they can buy you followers. They absolutely cannot. It will absolutely get your account. First of all, it will get your account banned in a way that like your account is hidden. You will get a notice that says you are violating our terms of service, and you basically have a cool off period. Like it's usually like, I think Instagram gives you like 2 weeks now. And you will get banned immediately. Like you will definitely be put in the Instagram jail, as we call it. Do not buy followers under any circumstances. It will always, always be wrong. And none of them can do it in a way that's going to be beneficial to you. Because remember, when that whole buy followers thing was going on, that you were getting bots. Bots do nothing for you. They're not listening to your podcast. They are not buying from your advertisers. They're not anything. So there's no point in it. You'll get much more leverage on an account of real followers having 200 people than you would 2,000 bots. You know, Scott, we've had this discussion.
Yeah. What's a sign though? Because I'm always cracking up when I'm scrolling through people's stuff, whether I should follow them or not. And I see like 10 posts and like 6,000 followers.
Yeah.
And then like they're following. I'm like, that's not they bought traffic or they bought
it. Well,
the
only disclaimer on that is this. Celebrities like to go and delete their entire history. So if you looked at, and obviously, like if you look at like Jennifer Aniston's Instagram feed, she has like 35 million followers and like 20 posts, but that's a different animal. Like that's not who we are. But yeah, again, that's a great way to tell. If you go and look at a feed and they have 15 posts and they have 10,000 followers, just go click on 1 or 2 of those posts. If they have no comments and 2 likes, it's all bots. It's not anything you need to be following.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see a question in the chat room which relates to this, Scott. So Brooke asked, if we have a messy feed, should we delete it and clean it up?
Yep.
I believe you should. People, I know some people have a different opinion of this. They say, no, you never want to delete anything. I don't agree with that. I totally think it's fine. First of all, Instagram's not penalizing you for deleting stuff.
Right.
And what Scott and I were just talking about, well, isn't it going to make my account look a little shady because I have all these followers and then I only have 20 posts and stuff? Well, for the most part, you're not going to go and erase your entire Instagram feed because you're not Jennifer Aniston. So don't worry about that. Who was it? I just saw one of the celebrities. They had done that where they had gone and like deleted everything. I mean, you can delete them. It really honestly doesn't matter. Just have enough on there that people can see the history of you posting, right? Mm-hmm. I've done it for my own personal Boomtown marketing account because when I was first starting using it, I was doing it more from the standpoint of an entrepreneur. So there was a lot of personal crap on there and nobody cared about it. There was like pictures of like, I don't know, like dessert I ate, which is just not in line with like what I'm doing now. So I delete that crap.
Yeah, and it's the thing is I've added stuff on there and then taken stuff off, and then we tweaked some stuff up with quotes. And we started, I mean, it made sense to have the personal account, and then we started the podcast account just for the Note Closer show and adding that stuff up there. So
perfect. And also, again, because you're not being penalized for deleting stuff. If you want to put something up that's timely, like say, Scott, you did a ton of posts that were all about the Mass Media Podcast Summit. And then after the summit, you're like, I don't need to put the one up that was like schedules, because the schedules, like if you post it like specific times, you can delete that. You don't have to keep that, especially if it's ruining the aesthetic of your feed. I would get rid of it. But you put it up there just so people had information at that time. I do that stuff all the time. Like I'll put up a post about a YouTube video and then I might remove it if I have something else going on. Or if I did an event and then the event's like long past and it had all these dates on it. Mm-hmm. So I'll just get rid of it.
Do you think that people should be putting on a post, putting more images instead of just one? Do you see like it's got multiple images that it gets clicked on more, they get more engagement that way?
I don't find them to be very helpful. I don't think it gets you more engagement. I know some people are like, oh, I'll put 10 posts, I'll pick like 3 or whatever. Most people are not clicking through that. That's why I mentioned earlier, your biggest bang for your buck is doing something animated that turns it into a video or an actual audiogram, something that they can play. Most people are not clicking through, I have found, to multiple images, unless, my only disclaimer on that is if you are in the rescue dog business, you have to do the multiple images because everybody wants to see the horrible image of the dog that has just been rescued. And then, or you want to see the beautiful dog picture, and then you want to click through and see the awful one. Because we all, I don't know, we love to see the horrible photos. It's terrible. I'm in the dog rescue group, so I have a rescue dog. I did it myself. I had to show where he came from, so then I could show him laying on my couch because I'm such a good dog mom.
Before and after photos of everything works out well. It works well in real estate. You know, if you're an athletic trainer, that may be something to post in there too for you.
But again, I would only do 2 images. I would not have them clicking through multiple shit. And think about how much more powerful. If you had a before and after picture, if you created it in one of these really easy animation tools, so that picture flips for them. Yes.
I love it. I love it. Where are you seeing? You're doing so many. You're working with so many different clients on things like that. You're doing events. I mean, are you still doing? You're going to still be in charge of social media at Podfest here in March?
No, Scott. Unfortunately, the LA Marathon is the same weekend, and you know I'm running the marathon. It's my 13th marathon, so I will not be at Podfest this year.
Wow, we're gonna.
I couldn't make it work. I couldn't fly across the country and then fly back and run a marathon.
No.
I'm not, I couldn't do it. So I won't be, but I work with a variety of clients. Like I said, I work with companies that are like geospatial companies, which are really like heady stuff. And you're like, who would follow them? There's always something within your business that can be interesting to other people, but it's up to you to figure out what that is. So like for a podcast, you could be like, well, I'm just interviewing something and we don't do video. What am I going to post about? Well, what's your topic of your show about? If you're talking about something in marketing, find something that relates to that. Or if you're doing something in crime, obviously you don't want to have a horrible like crime photo all the time. But if you're talking about crime in LA, I would love to see a series of photos of like LA in the 50s. Like if your show is about LA in the 50s, show me some historical photos or something.
Yeah. Now, are you seeing a lot of success with people doing Instagram lives and bringing others on at the same time and kind of drafting off each other's listener or subscribers or follower base?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because that was actually something I forgot to cover. So the Instagram live thing, I have mixed feelings about live because it is a time suck. not only for the person doing it, but for the person viewing it. And I know that my dear friend Adam will fight me tooth and nail on this because he has used it to a certain amount of success in his. But I'm saying as a user myself, it is few and far between that I am sitting there for an entire live thing. And I don't think it's a great interface. So if it is something that you're like, you know what, I'm going to make this part of my show. So I'm going to record my podcast and I'm going to launch it. And then I'm going to go on Instagram and talk about it. And then I'm going to have that same guest back on my Instagram, which, by the way, I totally just stole that from Adam. Like, do that, but you have to do it consistently.
Yeah.
It's all about the consistency, and he does do it. But I don't think as somebody starting out that it's something you really want to get involved with because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's not only your time commitment, but your viewer, and not many people have the time to watch a live video like that.
Yeah, we were doing some with our podcast episodes being, 30 minutes or so. We would, especially if it was a solo episode, I would throw that on there and just throw the camera around, do an Instagram live that way. Just didn't see a lot of engagement on a variety of things. But what I have found is when we have done short videos, 2 minutes, 3 minutes with our guests, getting them on there at the same time. Yeah. Hey, let's do a quick preview of the episode or check it out here, going from there. That's worked well.
Yes.
For a variety of reasons. We've got a couple questions here from people. Let's see here. Michelle says, thank you so much for all the information. I'm trying to take it all in. Much appreciated. Now, Michelle runs is a doula.
I know what a doula is.
Yep. And so
I'm in LA. Of course I know what it is.
Yeah, of course you do. Exactly. I was thinking before photos and after photos, but maybe not.
Nope.
Well, maybe
doula. Oh my God, baby shots galore.
That's what I was meaning, not like immediately while it's going on there, but yeah, afterwards, baby photos.
Well, also because she is a doula is a very, very personal thing. When you choose your doula, that is that's more intimate than choosing your doctor, I feel, in a lot of ways. So for her name was Michelle. Michelle, I would do a big old Instagram that has a lot of you in it. I would really let people get to know you. Whatever, however you want, however you feel comfortable with that, because you as a doula, that is such an intimate thing. I would have to be super comfortable with this person and really feel like you had the vibe that I had. So if you're kind of like rock and roll, then show people hey, I'm kind of this cool person. Not necessarily you're going to rock and roll concert, but somebody edgy. Or if you're flower child, I would do some beautiful outdoor stuff where here I am in nature, or I'm planting, or I like to cook stuff so they can see that you're very naturally nurturing and things like that. Just so whoever your ideal customer is, I would tailor the content towards that. But I would make sure you as a doula, you showed your face significantly, because I need to connect with this area of you before I let you down in this area.
Exactly. Now, question for you. Somebody popped up here. I think it was probably Michelle. She goes, yes, it is intimate work. Thank you for that tip. There you go.
And it's beautiful work. I applaud you for that.
Yeah, definitely. I want to ask a question. Are you seeing anything with Instagram or any other platforms kind of limiting the stuff that's going on with cannabis, stuff like that? Because we've got a podcaster on here. He's got a cannabis business in Colorado with them sharing.
I haven't seen that at all. Okay. I haven't seen it at all. Listen, Instagram's had a lot of blowback over the past year for things way more harmful than that. If you heard of some of the news articles that went around specifically about the self-harm stuff, Instagram is way more interested in blocking that stuff right now. Yeah. Cannabis right now is legal in pretty much every state. It's a viable industry. It's making a ton of tax dollars for the state, for the government. I do not see that, and nor have I heard it. And I have friends that are in the cannabis industry, again, because I live in LA. Yeah, I have not seen that as a problem.
Good stuff. Awesome. That's good to hear. Tony says, thank you. There you go. Good stuff there for you.
You're very welcome.
What other questions do you have, everybody? I mean, I think one of the biggest things is if you've got clients, sharing your clients. We see so many people that are talking about themselves, but I think testimonials. One of the things I like do, they get a lot of hit, is taking our 5-star reviews and turning them into Instagram posts.
Yes.
And testimonials for stuff.
I love that.
Yeah.
And again, to make it interactive. So when you, I'm sorry, I should have had a slide that would show you this more, and I don't know if you'd be able to see it on my phone. I want to do a real quick story for you guys to show you what the difference is when you do something interactive. Let me see if this will show up. Let me find a photo. Okay. Does that show? Oh, you go. Oh, let me do this live. Okay, good. It shows up.
Yep.
So you see on my screen, I have this picture. This was just something that was in my camera gallery. So I can take this photo. I can stretch it out to fill it up. You want to make sure you fill up the space. Okay, so it's very visually pleasing. Now what I can do is I can just go up here to the little happy face, which is where your GIF is. Click on that, and you'll see that, where's the GIF? There it is. I click on GIF. They have all these free GIFs that are already preloaded, and this is what I do all the time. I type in sparkle, because I love a good sparkle. I see all of the stuff, and then all the free GIFs come up. Okay, so they all come up here. And then I just choose stuff that I know is going to like blow people's minds. So I'll put that on there. All right. And then what I'll do is I'll go back and I'm going to show you how with the @ symbol. And if you guys already know this, and this is just a refresher, with my @ symbol, I'm going to say the name of that because it's my Hardwire Happiness feed. Let me move that down. Hold on. And everything, you have to slide stuff around. I would put it down there. I like to put stuff over here because I find people, that's where their thumbs kind of lay. I could even make it a little bit more transparent so it's in the background a little. Okay, so that's essentially a video for people, right? That looks pretty cool. I can put that right on my story. Here's your bonus. I can download this to my phone as a video. I'm going to hit download up there. So it's processing it. It's downloading it to my phone because I'm going to give you like the bang for your buck. I can put that on my story right now. And when I go back to my feed, check this out.
You could upload it as your image too.
I can, oh no, upload it as my video.
Oh.
So there I am. So I take that. It's an actual video now. I click next. I'm just going to go run through all this and I'm going to throw it on my feed real quick.
So much easier than that. That's so easy to do.
It's a video, Scott, no editing. I did that in two seconds, right? Now, when I go look at my feed, hold on, you guys. I want to show you how cool this looks. Still processing. So when you go to look at my feed, do you see all the little arrows? That's all videos, right? Now I go to my video, check that out.
Yeah.
That's my Instagram post instantly. And then I could write my copy in there. But what I'm saying is when people go to your feed and they see a video, they're much more likely to click that than to see something that has multiple images. So I have to go keep clicking through to other stuff. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm lazy. I'm a lazy viewer. I want that. I want you to play to me now. You do something for me right now. And use the stars. And this, I'm telling you, just do sparkle on everything. Because there's a million different sparkles you can pick. People, it just catches your eye.
Yeah, you can bedazzle your post.
You bedazzle your post. Scott, I'm stealing that.
Go right ahead. Hashtag bedazzle.
Stealing that. Hashtag bedazzle your post. Hashtag social Stefanie. Hashtag social Scott.
There you go. Yes, Tony, all that was accessed through Instagram. Exactly.
I did that right on my phone, right in front of you guys on Instagram. I didn't do anything special. I picked a photo from my gallery and download it to you. And then not only that, it's downloaded to my phone. I could put that other places. I could then, I do this all the time with this account. And then I go and post it on Twitter too, right from my phone.
Yeah.
I know my coffee's still here. I never left my desk.
I love it.
Yeah. But the other cool thing with stories, let me show you real quick again, because they give you the option to do all the create stuff. So down here with the create button, when I click that, and if I scroll over, all this stuff is already preloaded. So I can have questions. It's all in there. It's all created on the fly.
I love it. Great stuff, Steffi.
Stalk me online, guys, and stalk me online and feel free to answer me questions. Yeah,
she does a great job with everything. You've got great classes you're doing, great teaching and stuff all the regular. When's your next class that you've got going on? Anything recent?
Yes, well, I'm launching my Instagram class in 2 weeks, which is actually called Instagram Secrets, spurned on by what we're talking here, where I'm going to go deep into content creation and the tools that we need to use that, and also schedulers. Because like I said, I felt like I needed to get a better handle on what's happening with the scheduler system before I speak about that more, but that'll all be in the course as well. And and then also we're going to cover Instagram advertising on that.
Nice.
So if you ever had the inkling of, I think I want to, advertise on Instagram, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that and get the results you need.
Yeah, we've used the geo marketing on Instagram quite a bit in different places. Actually, I love it because I'll market to an event that I'm not even at and get leads coming in from it. And it's there's conferences that I won't do a speak. I'm like, oh, I'll still market to it though, and everybody within a mile of the thing, and it's a beautiful thing. So.
Hey Scott, here's a question for cross marketing. Are you getting T-shirts printed up for Mass Media Podcast Summit? If you are, I want one. Did you already do them?
Swag. We got some swag here.
I want swag. I want something.
Swag? I got some swag. I'll send for all our speakers. I got a special thing coming out.
Oh, thank you. Because I was thinking, I'm like, I wish I had a shirt to wear during this. When I was getting dressed today, I'm like, hey, I don't even have like a podcast T-shirt. So if you had like Mass Media, like next time, yeah, definitely. Or
we got some hats. You know, right. We got some cool stuff coming out because we had different price levels for something. So I got some surprises coming out to people that signed up.
Fantastic. Thank you, Scott. This was fun.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Stefanie. Anybody other got final questions for Stefanie before we let her get going back on her day?
You guys definitely follow me on YouTube. I'm doing a lot of free trainings on there now. And if you have any questions, just hit me up, slide into my DMs on any of them. I am one of those people that literally is on every social media all the time, and I do respond. So the chances are you'll get an immediate response. So if you like send me a message at 8:00 at night and think, oh, she'll respond tomorrow, like I don't want to deal with it until tomorrow, I'm going to respond. But you don't have to do anything until tomorrow.
That's actually about the time that most of you and I are speaking. Is 8:00 California time, 10:00 Austin time. And
I love it. You asked me something. I'm like right back. I'm like, here you go.
Yeah, exactly. Good stuff. Well, hey, Stefanie, thank you so much for coming on Mass Media Summit here, and keep kicking butt. Good luck on the marathon. And what other events are you attending here in the next, say, 90 days?
I will actually be at the sorry, why is his name escaping me?
Are you going to the Traffic and Conversion Summit in San Diego?
No, the social media one. Why can't I say it?
Social Media Marketing World?
Yes. God, what is wrong with me? I will be at Social Media Marketing World. I'm not speaking. I'm actually one of the volunteers, but I will be everywhere. So if you guys are down there, definitely come down and look for me. I mean, you'll see me running around. I'll have my running shoes on, but I will be working with all of the speakers. So please come down. So yes, Social Media Marketing World, I will definitely be at. Traffic and Conversion, maybe. And other than that, I'd have to look at my schedule. I actually, so Podcast Movement is having an event in LA in July. I will be at that one.
Oh, no, the one that you're talking about, the Evolutions event, that's actually this quarter.
Oh, it is?
Their main event is in August in Dallas.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check then.
Yeah, Evolutions is like, it's like the week before Podfest.
Okay. So August would be out because August I am back in Vegas for DEF CON again for the social engineering competition. We didn't get to talk about that. That's a whole nother crazy story, but I will be back. This time though, I'm going to be speaking there. So I'm going to be speaking specifically on keeping yourself safe during online dating for men and women.
There you go.
Scott, it's good. It's really good. Listen, I'm a super stalker and I understand that, but I feel like I need to let people know that I am by no means a minority and that there is a lot of information out there that you need to lock down when you are social dating.
That's the truth. Amen to that. Well, we look forward to hearing those stories later on. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm glad I got to break in my brand new microphone with you guys.
There we go. Good stuff. Have a good day, Stefanie. We'll see you later. All right.
Thank you, Scott. Have a beautiful weekend.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick, say 11.5 minute break for you.